Hello fellow crafters, I'm Jane Fires with Fun Stamper's Journey, and today I'd like to show you a card that you can use for any occasion really with a special stamp set. One of the items that we're going to use today is the Petals wall. It's our embossing folder, and you'll see that as we start the card. The stamp set that I'm talking about is this one here called Sentimental Prints. And the thing that's really neat about it is it not only has 4 different stamps, but it also has several different words with it. For example, it says thank you, love you, thinking of you, happy birthday, missing you, and with sympathy. And this is the stamp set that we will use. Along with it, we are also going to use our die, the mini bow die, and we're going to use the border details die, and out of this one, we're going to use the real ornate scalloped one. Then along with those, we're going to use a background stamp, which is our sketch, our thread sketch. And this you can use for really any background, but we'll show you how we're going to use this today. And then our cardstock we're going to use is our whipped cream and our bubble gum. And the card we're going to make today is actually going to be with sympathy. The other products that we're going to use are the Bubblegum Ink Pad and our black licorice. And what's nice about our ink pads, remember, is that they are a fusion ink, which means that they are a combination of both dye and pigment. All right, let's get started. Okay, here I'm going to show you crafters 3 of the cards that I made ahead of time, and then I'm going to actually do the one. But this one, and it's all used the same stamp set. This one is the happy birthday. This one is with sympathy. And this one is a thank you. So basically on all 3 of the cards we're using everything the same, except on this one I used the rose, on this one I used the daisy, and on this one I used the little wildflowers. Now there is one other flower in the stamp set, but I wasn't satisfied the way it came out on this particular design, because after you stamp, that's when you're going to emboss. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is take a piece of cardstock, whipped cream, and I'm going to take my thread sketch, a whole page that it will do my entire background. Because on this one, I'm going to use this not as a background, but I'm going to use it for my bow. So what I'm doing is putting my bubblegum ink all over my stamp. And then I'm going to take my cardstock and lay it on top of my stamp. Once I've done that, I'm going to use my fingers to go over the entire stamp, making sure that I have it all loaded on with my ink from my thread sketch extremely well. By doing it this way and using my fingers rather than the palm of my hand, I am getting an even touch all the way around. Pick it up, and there is my thread sketch. Now I'm going to bring in my Amaze machine and my bow dies, which are the mini ones. And I love our Amaze machine. It's small enough that you can use it anywhere, and it cuts extremely well. So lay down my thread sketch, adjust my 2 mini bow parts. Now, I don't want my center of my bow to be the same. So what I'm doing is taking the small little bow piece, it's going to be my tie, and I'm putting it on a piece of pink. Then, putting my top orange plate down, I will run it through my Amaze machine. Set my machine aside. And now I have all the parts that I need for my bow. So, first thing that I'm going to do, after I get my pieces out, is take my crease tool, and I just want to crease the part that's going to actually make my loops a little, because it's easier then to make your loop. And then on this one, what I'm going to do is put in my journey dot. And I'm putting it in right in the center part of my bow. And then I'm putting over one side to my journey dot. I will take another journey dot, glue dot, and put it on top and put over the other bow part and just squeeze it on my two dots right there so that my glue dots will hold that part exact where I want it. Then I'll take another glue dot and put it right in the center of the back part. All right, because now what I have to do is I have to add my little tie around the center of my bow. And so with my bloom tool, that helps me pull out that little tiny piece because it is small. I will line it up where that glue dot is on back, turn it around to the front, and then put another glue dot right in the middle again, and turn over the other part of my little pink part. So now that will go on my little tie part. So again, another glue dot. Love these glue dots because they come off individually, so you can put them right where you want them, one at a time. Line my bow up now and just hold it for a minute. So now our bow is finished. So that part's totally done. Now what I'm going to do is take my other piece of cardstock, which is just a little bit smaller. I'm going to bring in my stamp, and for this one I'm using the rose, and I'm going to use my pink. Now the hardest part on this is lining it up so that I have it exactly where I want it. So what I do is I line it up on my grid paper. And of course, Fun Stampers Journey, we have grids. So I'm going to put it on my grid paper, and with our Fun Stampers Journey washi tape, I'm going to tape it down right there so it doesn't move on me. Ink up my rose, and because my rose is going to go on 3 of them at an angle, this is why I want to make sure that I have it down on my grid paper, because I can see my lines, and I want to come up about 1.5 lines. So right about there, I'm going to stamp my first rose. Now, knowing that I came up about 1.5 of my little grids, I want to do the same at the top. And I do my top then before I do the middle rows. So now I'm up here, so I need to go about right there and over just a little bit and stamp that rose. Now I know that I have room for my 3rd rose. So ink up my stamp again. And you'll notice that I leave my block onto the table with my stamp on it, and I take the ink to the stamp that way, because I believe you get a better inking when you do it that way. And then line this up between the 2 of them and press down. Okay, so now I have my roses on. Now what I'm going to do is emboss this. So I'll peel off my tape, bring back in my Amaze machine, get my Petals wall embossing folder, lay my cardstock inside with my flowers already stamped on it, close it up, Okay, now when I use my embossing folders, I always put my cardstock inside, of course, then I lay down my rubber mat and one of my orange cutting plates. And of course your rubber mat comes with your Amaze machine when you get it. Every part that you need to use for anything with this Amaze machine is already included in your package. So run it through. And now, as you can see, I have it fully embossed. So my flowers are embossed. Okay. Now, what I'm going to use to put this one down is my very favorite adhesive that we have. We carry several. One of them, of course, is our tape runner. But myself, I like this one because I like the white liner. It makes everything stick extremely well. So I'm putting it at the top and at the bottom. And then I always run a piece at an angle, besides putting just a small piece on each long side. And I'm doing this because I want to make sure that this is going to stick down well. And because it is embossed, okay, it will stand up just a little bit. So I take my all-purpose tool, my bloom tool, and peel off my backings. Then bring in my card that I have all my card base. My card base, of course, is 11 by 8.5, and then I've cut it at 4 1/4, and I folded it at 5 1/2. And now I'm going to put down my card. And then I've already done this part, but I took a strip of our bubblegum cardstock with this particular fancy die, and I cut it out, and this is what you get right here. Now, because it's so fancy and so intricate, the way I'm going to apply this is going to be with our Journey craft glue. And our craft glue is really very amazing because it works on anything. You really don't need a lot of it. So simply what I do is I go where the bigger spaces are and I put a dot of my glue down. Because once this is down, it's going to hold forever. Make sure that you do put a few dots of glue at the very bottom. Then I'm going to take this and line it up on the edge of my card. And then taking my little scissors, I'm going to cut it off right where I want it cut. Okay, so now my decorative edging is on my card. Now I'm going to put on my little bow. And again, what I do with this little bow, because it's already sticking up, and so I want to put it down flat, I'm just going to take several glue dots and put it on the back part of my bow. And by doing this, of course, then it will stick. So I simply lined it up and put her down. Then I've already taken a little piece of cardstock and cut it out, the whipped cream, and I corner punched my corners to make them rounded. And on this one, because I've had to do sympathy cards this week, I am stamping with sympathy. Now, like I said, this particular stamp set, I did that one in pink, but I don't think it shows up well enough. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do it in black licorice instead. So now there's my saying with sympathy. So now I'm going to put it on my little card. And then this little card is totally done. Now you can apply this in a variety of ways if you want to. But the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to attach it with one of our big, which is our medium, glue dots. Put it right in the middle, peel the backing off, and then place it on my card. So this is the card. You can do it as a thank you. And on this one, when I did the oval, I used our oval die. This was the other one I did for happy birthday. And as you can tell on these two, I went ahead and I did the black edging. And how I did that was simply took my black licorice ink pen and went around my edges to make that. Now, one thing I also wanted to show you was the difference in these two cards. And I don't know for sure if you can see it or not, but when I did the embossing folder on this one, I did it so that the embossed part, the raised part, is facing the front. When I did the one today, I did it the opposite way because I think you can see the petals better. And so that's basically the only difference in these two cards. And again, because the stamp set has so many sayings, you can really use it for anything you want. For example, once again, thank you, love you, with sympathy, thinking of you, happy birthday, missing you. And then you have the 4 different flowers that you can use. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll try it. You can find all of the products at my website at www.funstampersjourney.com/angelhugs. Enjoy and have a blessed day.